This is Tim Bryce with my column titled, Why I'm Voting for Donald Trump. I've been following and reporting on Donald Trump since he threw his hat in the presidential ring in June of last year. Prior to this, I had little interest in his activities, which included his television series. I also followed the campaigns of the other 16 Republican candidates who, one by one, dropped out of the race. I listened to the GOP debates, heard many speeches, and finally settled on Donald Trump as the candidate I am willing to support. Now he faces Hillary Clinton, the Democratic candidate in the November contest, but I will not dwell on her foibles as I believe it is irrelevant for the purpose of this article. When it comes to presidential elections, we typically vote for the lesser of two evils. I did this in 2008 and 2012. This year is different for me. Now, for the first time in a long time, I'm an active proponent of a candidate and would like to express my reasons. First, as Mr. Trump has articulated, I believe we have many problems in this country, including the economy, immigration, security, jobs, trade, energy, morality, the military, a bureaucratic government inhibiting business, and much more. We're also moving dangerously closer to socialism and away from capitalism, thereby creating a dependency state we cannot afford. As such, it is my opinion our quality of life is deteriorating. Our gross domestic product is in decline. The federal debt is out of control, and our nation is stagnating due to a lack of responsible leadership. Second, Mr. Trump is neither a community organizer or professional politician. Instead, he is a businessman who understands competition and possesses such skills as negotiation, risk management, managing by objectives, finance, labor relations, human resources, recruiting, project management, and other related skills. This means he understands the necessity of organization, discipline, ethics, accountability, and productivity. This is something we have not seen in the White House since General Dwight Eisenhower in the 1950s when America flourished. True, Mr. Trump possesses a type A personality, which tends to rub some people the wrong way, but it is well suited for establishing an entrepreneurial spirit and a resourceful can-do mentality. Third, it is time to take back America. As Rasmussen has reported for several years now, the American people believe the nation is headed in the wrong direction. In Mark Leibovich's 2013 book, This Town, he makes it clear our nation's capital is about money and power and little else. While the rest of the country suffered through the recession, Washington's unemployment rate was one of the lowest in the country, and the city became a money-making engine for its residents, which is unusual for a town without any major industry, aside from politics and press. In his book, Leibovich reveals the true culture of the District of Columbia, where an incestuous relationship exists between government, journalists, and lobbyists, which I refer to as the three pillars. All scratch each other's backs in order to climb their respective totem poles and grab as much money as possible along the way. He paints a picture of unadulterated collusion and makes it clear Washington exists not to solve the problems of the country, but to line the pockets of the residents there. It is now apparent Americans no longer trust its politicians, lobbyists, and particularly the media. According to the Associated Press, only 6% of the American people have a lot of confidence in the press. And Gallup reports only 13% approve of the job Congress is doing. Enter Donald Trump, an outsider willing to take on the establishment, which explains why they are viciously trying to undermine him. However, Trump has the populace on his side who realize it is time for some massive changes to our country. One indicator of the people's attitude is Brexit, whereby the people of the United Kingdom voted recently to withdraw from the European Union. This means they are rejecting globalization and returning to nationalism, a trend which is also happening in the United States. This is all reminiscent of the 1976 movie Network, where the anchorman played by Peter Finch goes on camera to encourage people to say, "I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore." Such an attitude should make the three pillars nervous in terms of losing control. Consequently, Mr. Trump is vilified from all three sides. No, he is neither a racist or a xenophobic. These are just clever subterfuges to cloud his message. He has simply raised the ire of the establishment who fears for its life. Make no mistake, the animosity against Trump was created by the establishment he hopes to correct. Finally, I am disturbed by the thought of what this country would be like if the progressives command the Supreme Court and the other federal benches. This would certainly mean the country would be embracing socialism. I am more confident of Mr. Trump's ability to select nominees than any other presidential candidate. The selection of justices is critical and will impact our country for years to come. Frankly, I'm not interested in what the press or the politicians say about Mr. Trump. They have lost all credibility with me. I am voting for Donald Trump because I believe it is time we elect a person who possesses the common sense needed to turn this country around and head it in the right direction. No, we do not need another community organizer or professional politician. We need an outsider who is not afraid to roll up his sleeves and tackle the true problems of the country. To my way of thinking, Donald J. Trump is the most qualified person to get the job done. Period. Friends, keep the faith. This is Tim Bryce in Palm Harbor, Florida. Follow me on the internet at timbryce.com.